Hey guys, this is Dustin, Specialist. So I've done a couple videos on this unit already, and you might want to check those out, but I wanted to say something about this particular coach. So one of the things that the consumers came in and said, hey, you know, this unit's pretty high. Can you adjust our pin box down, because we just purchased it and the truck that we have is not that high compared to it. And so obviously it's, you know, doing this when they're towing it, right? So, you know, we said, well, I'll just take a look at it, we came back and said, well, at least they put all grade 8 bolts in the pin box. Yes, the pin box can be adjusted, but as we came back here to the suspension, we found out that the suspension had been modified. We shut this door so I can crawl underneath here. So underneath this unit, as you can see, they added what looks to be like a 4x4 tube, or well, not 4x4, but like a tube that's probably 4 inches in depth. They connected these tubes to the existing hangers and then welded them in place. And then on top of that, they went and purchased a, whatever that is. I don't know if it's 5 3/8 or 5 7/8 shackle link or hanger, and added another hanger directly underneath the original hanger, and then used L brackets as a cross brace. And they did that on every one of the hangers, and they added that. So that's not the proper way to lift a unit like this. To me, that's becomes a big safety factor. This is a 12-inch I-beam on here, and I just did another video on it as well. So you have a 12-inch I-beam already, and when I zoom in here, those are the reinforcement plates to add additional support to the existing hanger. So now what you've done is you've created something that can do this to that I-beam. So if you check out our videos online, I think we have probably, 280 or more frame repair videos for all different kind of situations. You can already see that they've painted, and there's some warping in the I-beam itself. When you do that, you actually take and can affect the camber of the coach, the weight of the coach, because it's now so high off the ground, as well as when you're traveling, all these tires moving, bobbing in and out, the axles. And so you're going to cause damage to this thing and can, hurt yourself or somebody else over time. Let's put yourself in a scenario where, let's say you've had to go off a road, right? You had to go off like a little eave. You took that whole weight of this coach and just done that. It could just cause it to buckle or break loose or give way. And so if you're seeing this video and you're, younger, and I'm in my early 50s, but if you're a guy that's like, hey, I'm in my 30s or 40s, and I got a great big old jacked up truck, and I'm gonna buy something that's 40 plus feet long, and I'm gonna raise it because I know how to weld, you're screwing yourself hardcore. You've just destroyed the resale value of the unit, potentially setting yourself up for, some type of a frame failure, as well as a risk. And highway patrol would not be okay with that. So if any of you guys that are watching are highway patrol guys or safety guys or inspection guys, you'd be like, oh man, don't even touch the suspension, right? Don't service it, don't wheel bearing pack it, don't nothing. Because something goes wrong, now your name's on it, right? And then also too, if you don't have the right truck, sorry, go buy the right truck. That's not a situation where, hey, I got a 4-wheel drive lifted truck, with oversized tires on it. I'm going to take that and I'm going to slap a, 39 to 43 foot fifth wheel behind it and tow it. You can see the steps too, right? So look how much higher this 4th step is supposed to be to the ground. And we don't even have this thing leveled, 100% in here. But we've got it with blocks, because now you're reducing the run of the leg. So now his legs may not even touch, and he would probably have to use like an Anderson bucket or a block or something like that, which also, now that I'm thinking about it, now makes the legs not stable enough. If the legs are up too high, that can cause frame cracks and damage to the legs for an instability thing that way as well. But these steps, you can see how this bottom step is already, buckled at a weird angle compared to the other one. And that could break because it's just too high up. The back one's starting to do the same. So make sure in the event that you're purchasing a coach, check everything out. What's been modified, what's been changed, what's been corrected. Unfortunately, to recap on this video, And I know I'm all over the place. See the other video, but this person just purchased this coach a month and a half ago and paid a lot of money for it. Worked their tail off to get to buy something like this, to go in and stay in full time. And they came in for a tree branch that tore the roof. And what's crazy is they only owned it again for like a month and a half. Well, they, turned it into their insurance, took some pictures themselves, AC damage and the roof damage, and sent it into them, and they approved them, wrote them a check. Well, when they came into our shop, we went up there and, we're checking the rest of the roof out. It's basically a 2015, right? So it's already, what is that, 11 years old, right? Yeah, 11 years old. Think about it for a second. So go up there and make sure, hey, what kind of antenna's on it? Is the skylight's good? Is anything sun damaged or whatever? Then before we, take all our measurements, how wide is the wood? How long is the wood? How many sheets do we need? What color it is? How many tubes of sealant do we need? How much glue do we need to go ahead and do a roof replacement? Well, before we start on the roofs, what we like to do is we pull them in just from years of experience. So keep in mind, I've been doing this since 2003 for myself, and I have over 26 years experience in it. And then on the side, I get hired as an expert witness on lawsuits. So I fly all over the place. I go look at units, who built it? Was it a consumer's fault? Was it a manufacturer's fault? Was it a supplier's fault? Dealer's fault? What the heck's going on? So we can kind of help resolve the problem and get through it, whether it's a buyback or just, getting a warranty approved or whatever the situation. Well, this particular unit was sold to these folks, and it must have been in the snow, because when I went up on that roof, I found over 13 areas. And again, I didn't do a super thorough roof inspection. I just up there doing some basics to get what I need to get. While I was on that roof, I found over 13 areas of the roof that was dry rotted. When I called back the consumer, he said, oh yeah, there's some marks and stuff inside, and there's something that feels funny in the back, like a truss issue or something like that. Didn't know if it was from the impact of the tree or hitting the AC or what. So, it's all water damaged. And then because it's such a new coach and they already got a check issued, their insurance right on the paperwork says, hey, submit for a supplement if you need to overlay it or replace some wood sheeting. Well, if we were to call this insurance company, again, I don't lie to them. They sent the consumer a check, he deposited the check, it's his money. If I were to call the insurance company back up and say, hey, it's dry rotted, it's got 13 plus areas, we're gonna have to resheet the whole thing, regardless if the OSB was bad or not, it's not caused from that one incident where the tree hit it on the back, they would say, sorry, sir, we want our money back. And so, I left that to his case, and I just said, look, if we're gonna go ahead and replace this roof, obviously I'm not calling the insurance company back, it is what it is. If you wanna do it, that's up to you. You're probably looking around the neighborhood of close to $20,000. Could be less, could be more, depending on how much dry rot we find, if there's insulation that's damaged, if there's anything inside that's damaged, if there's trusses that are damaged or compromised, which we know there was. So whenever we go to do a job like this, the guys pull the unit in, plug it in, open up all the slide outs. We inspect the slide outs as well. We're testing anything that's operated through power through the roof, all the lights, speakers, air conditioners, fans, whatnot. Then they record down, hey, how does the air conditioning ducts feel? Is there optimal airflow? We do a wind flow sensor test, make sure that we got decent pressures in it before we go ahead and pull it apart. And the reason we do that is within the 23 years that I've been doing it for myself, we've replaced several roofs, which we usually do about 50 to 60 a year. We've had people come back in the past and say, something's not right since you changed my roof, Dustin. And then we have to go in and go, well, that had nothing to do with us, or AC's bad, or your ducking's bad, or something's bad, but it had nothing to do with us. But you was on there, you was in there. Oh my gosh, it's probably something you did, right? So covering my tail, had to be very careful because we're in California and say, hey, you know what? Whether the insurance covers it or not, or the consumer's paying for it, we're gonna test this stuff. Just because they don't allow for it doesn't mean that I'm not gonna cover my tail. So when the guys went in and tested this one, lo and behold, they start pulling down the bathroom skylight, vents, and different things to go ahead and mask those areas off with plastic and paper and tape so that no particles and stuff drop inside to get it dirty, so we have less stuff to clean up inside. Open it up, what do we find? We find duct work floating around in there where the mice or rats have gone in through the underbelly, up through the walls, and chewed up all the roofing, chewed up the duct work, made nests in it. And so As I said in the prior video, they will chew up the wiring because all wiring has a type of like a soybean coating on it, like a powdery food substance, in order for you to, cut the wire jacket and strip it off or fillet it off, right? Well, that's a food source to them. They smell it and they go in there and they eat the wiring. And that's the same on Romex. They'll do the wiring on the Romex. They'll do the wiring on any 12-volt wiring. Then, of course, anything that's plastic, anything that has a glue or has an oily substance in it, they smell that and they'll go and they'll attack that. So if you see our other videos online, we have like 2,400 plus videos on YouTube, you'll see other rat damage jobs, total jobs, units that come in similar like this. And it's really such a shame, but it's a combination of, somebody parked it for a while, didn't use it. They were in a field, they were out in the country. We've had one where it was inside of a shop, didn't know, they didn't go in it for 9 months and it chewed everything up in there. And then of course comes back to, underneath we'll see a skin underneath the bottom and you don't see all those holes and openings for the wires and plumbing that go up into cabinets and walls and whatnot. So, when we talk to the different manufacturers and stuff, we're always saying, hey, we guys, first, second year, we don't see this problem, but the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 10 year, we see all kinds of stuff going on. And could you please foam or seal off or panel off or steel wool or whatever, all the intrusions from the bottom. So let this be a lesson learned. They bought this, probably went in, turned some things on, but I'm not even sure if an RV inspector would have caught the mice or rodent damage unless there was signs inside of it or things that were just, if they had decon or traps obviously in there, that throws a flag. But whoever, if they would have hired somebody to inspect this, they would have caught all the dry rot damage to the roof. This has also got a floor that's dry rotted. They would have caught all the frame that it's been altered and been able to express that concern as well. That the steps aren't right, that the leveling jacks now are not right, that the pin box height's not right because whoever owned it before had a higher truck. So just let this be a lesson learned, that you want to be really careful when you purchase a used coach or a coach that's been modified. All right, well, thanks so much for watching. Hope I didn't bore you to death. I know I'm just walking back and forth pacing. I will get back up in there and show you some interior stuff as the guys go in it. But, please be careful out there, guys. This unit is totaled. They don't know what they're going to do with it. It's not a situation where we can just, hey, whatever the dollar amount they bought it for, let's say it's 60 grand or something, right? Because probably when it was new, it was probably over 100,000. Hey, I want to get my 60 back, right? Well, if you go and you sell this unit to somebody, knowing that the roof is all dry rotted and knowing that there's rat damage in there and there could be an electrical issue or a water leak issue, if this were to be sold and somebody were to buy it and they go plug it in and for whatever reason the unit catches on fire, hurts somebody, whatever, or let's say it's next to your house or in your shop or in your garage, catches on fire, burns down, or it's at a campground and wipes out a whole entire campground or kills somebody, you're done. So again, make sure you're hiring, a shop to do an inspection on the coaches or outside party. Make sure the party too knows what they're doing. How long have you been in the business? Did you, I'm an RV inspector. Okay, great. Did you go to the big red barn, the NSTS, whatever that nonsense is? And I say that freely, there's some good guys that are out there, but did you go in and do this quick little lab, or they taught you, here's how to check this, and then they'll inspect it and they won't tell you how much it costs to fix it. Well, did they have a background before doing the repairs, knowing what's behind the walls and the caps and the floors and the structural stuff? Or did they just get taught, this is an RV window, and if it looks like this, it's bad. So make sure that you identify if you're hiring somebody there. And to be honest with you, I've been doing this now for 26 plus years. To give you an example, I work at my own business 60 plus hours a week. Then I spend at least another 20 to 40 hours per week with having a wife, 2 dogs, and a young baby after raising 4 sons already in a prior marriage. And I still learn something new every day. And so my 26 years experience is probably more like 40, ish, because of all the extra time I've put in building my own business and reputation. So, you know, every day I learn something new, and every day I see something new, whether it be a new product, a new change, or something old that somebody's done crazy. So, all right, well, Dustin, shut it up, land the plane, as my wife would say, and quit jabbering. So, thanks so much for watching and listening to my nonsense. Again, we're in Lodi, California. My business name is California RV Specialist. And we go on YouTube by Your RV Specialist. Hope you're enjoying these videos and seeing what we're seeing. This gives you a shop perspective. Again, we're not paid by anybody. We're not sponsored by anybody. This is just me doing this on my own time, sharing it, writing articles and videos and posts to kind of help everybody out there. If you have any questions, hit me up. Have a great day, everybody, and travel safe. We're actually getting ready for 4th of July. Today is Thursday, July 2nd, and it's 2026. So if you see this video in the future, and I'll tag it a couple different ways, but this is my 4th video on this, and it's just to express, you know, the roof stuff, the suspension stuff, and all the other things that we've seen. So, all right, well, have a great day. Dustin, RV Specialist.